What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the A-Game.
Join us as we recap this week in App State sports and follow us on Instagram at the A-Game Sports for weekly updates on the latest sporting news and the latest on-set action.
Mountaineer Spotlight host Jay Boyd interviews Luke Drumheller of the App State baseball team. And stay tuned as we crown this week's Player of the Week.
I'm Gray Salter.
And I'm Austin Lopp.
And this is
the A-Game. App State men's basketball fell to Louisiana Monroe on Tuesday in the first round of the Sun Belt tournament, losing the game 89-80. Mountaineer Justin Forrest led the team with a season-high tying 32 points, but it wasn't enough to get the win. On Friday, it was announced that coach Jim Fox would be released from his contract following a disappointing 11-21 season. This decision ends Coach Fox's 5-year run with the Mountaineers, where he finished with an overall record of 56-99. App State will now begin a nationwide search for the next men's basketball coach, but there's no specific timeline for the hiring process. And Grace, so we had a lot of basketball to talk about. Both teams played in the Sun Belt tournament. Let's go ahead and start with men's and their loss in the first round of the tournament. Go ahead.
Well, Justin Forrest gets his 32 points. I mean, big score, big hot hand for him in that game. It was really similar to the last time he played ULM. You said he tied that season high for himself. The last time he got 32 was against ULM, and the result remained pretty similar. The games were very close. And without that help that we talked about last week, we said a guy whose name did not end with Forrest or Shabazz had to step up and had to provide 10-plus points, and a couple other guys were going to need to do that. And that really just wasn't the case in that game. I would say the closest thing to it was Mike Bibby played a really solid game. He hit a couple threes, smart basketball player, high basketball IQ, plays good defense. Down the stretch, he played some very valuable minutes, and I think he'll be a bright spot headed into next year. You mentioned a bunch of returners coming back. I think that's going to be helpful to the Mountaineers when they're looking at next season. But as far as that game, disappointing result, didn't do what they really needed to get it done. And it starts to reflect on, looking at their overall season statistics. I mean, they have no trouble scoring the basketball. They finished top 3 in scoring offenses in the Sun Belt. Then you look at the defense. I mean, they just really, really struggled on defense this year. They only had a plus .06 margin as an average for the whole season.
It's not going to get it done.
It's not going to get it done. That kills you.
Absolutely. And going off defense especially, they finished the season in the bottom 3 of defensive field goal percentage, defensive three-point field goal percentage, steals, and rebounding defense. So this team, if you need one word to describe what went wrong this season, it's defense. Offensively, they were able to score. They needed a couple guys to get going a little bit better, but those stripes had to come from the fact that the defense wasn't performing as well. But also that leads into what we talked about earlier, Jim Fox getting let go of after 5 years at App State.
I think a big contribution to that is the road wins. You look at this season, only 2 wins on the road this year for Jim Fox. That includes neutral sites, and that's not going to cut it. And, with his tenure here at App State, you have to consider also only 1 season in his 5 years where he had a 500-plus record in conference and got 15 or more wins overall. And Jim Fox did a good job of stepping into a sticky situation, but Austin, I'd love to hear your comment on it. But he just really never found a way to establish that winning program.
Right, I agree. And the situation that he was handed, like you said, it was sticky. Coming in, they were going into a new conference. They were under sanctions for having some grade issues, and he was able to establish that culture of academic excellence. But unfortunately, that culture of winning never really came either.
It's a two-piece thing.
It's a two-piece thing. It's great to have good grades, but when it really comes down to it, we want that. We want athletes performing in the classroom and on the court. He had multiple seasons where he had opportunities. Coming back this year after his best season last year, they had 5 of their 7 top scorers returning.
Gets Ron Shad
back, who comes in and this season does actually really well. Breaks records and just it doesn't get it done. And I feel like overall, we had to step back and say that we are ready to start competing consistently for not only Sun Belt tournament spots, in higher spots and winning a championship there. But also, it would be nice eventually to get to the actual March Madness tournament. So I think that this is the right move for App State to start looking at higher things.
No doubt, no doubt. And you know, one guy's not a good fit, and that doesn't mean that, you know, maybe Jim Fox won't be a good fit somewhere else, but I'm glad that maybe App State looked at the situation, recognized it wasn't a good fit for either party, and they kind of ate that contract really. And just
the guy
decided
knows
to move on.
basketball. I mean,
Yeah.
at Davidson, when he was an assistant at Davidson, he went to the Elite Eight. It just came here, and it just didn't work out, and we just got to figure out what's going on next.
No doubt. The women, though, definitely found their way to some wins in the Sun Belt tournament. It was very, very exciting. I think the highlight of the tournament everybody knows is Maddie Story, with kind of a storybook finish to her game, hits a game-winning a jump shot, kind of a floater to win, and it was just unbelievable. I mean, I was speechless when I saw it on Twitter. It's such a cool clip, and the team runs out there. They then move on to the semifinal and take on Little Rock, who was the #1 seed in the tournament. And that was an unfortunate 80-64 loss for the women there, ending their season.
Absolutely. The game was neck and neck through the entire thing, but the fourth quarter really shut down the game for App State. They kind of went silent with scoring. Also, another thing is that Little Rock had 26 second chance points on 15 offensive rebounds. That is not a winning equation, and if you do that in any game, especially against the #1 team in the Sun Belt, you're just not going to get it. But overall, they did finish the season 18-14. Maddie Story and Pre Stanley were both put on that Sun Belt All-Tournament team, and now they're feeling really good. They have a 10-win season turnaround. It's the highest in the conference. Wow. So from last year, they go 10 wins more. That's great. Most wins in the conference since the 2012 and 2013 season, and they're really sitting in a pretty good place right now. They're very excited to be where they are. They're waiting to hear about maybe a postseason berth, maybe from the women's NIT or the women's basketball invitational. So there's definitely a lot of upsides, and it's good to have something to look forward to, for sure.
It'd be great if their season didn't have to end because of that loss. I mean, you take on the #1 team in your conference, a very talented Little Rock team. It's tough to get those wins. Yeah. Plus, they're a fundamentally based team. That team survived off of rebounding well, playing good defense, and passing the basketball. And when you get out-rebounded like that, it's tough. Yeah. I will say shout-out, to Bailey Plummer. Bailey Plummer was named to the 3rd team All-Sun Belt Conference for the season. That's a huge honor. Absolutely. She led the conference in rebounds. It was an awesome year for women's basketball. We're definitely hoping to see them, if they get a bid, to continue that into a postseason run of some sort.
Definitely.
Coming up next, though, Mountaineer Spotlight host Jay Boyd talks with freshman infielder Luke Drumheller of the App State baseball team. Stay with us.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Jay Boyd here for Mountaineer Spotlight with freshman baseball player Luke Drumheller. How's the season going for you so far?
It's going good. We've had a hot start. Everything's going good. Everything's rolling like we want it to right now.
And you've looked amazing in the last couple of appearances. You go 5 doubles in that game against Furman not too long ago. Golden Spikes recognized you as well as Sunbelt naming you their player of the week. How does that feel?
It was awesome. It was great. It was almost like a blur. It just kind of happened, and I didn't realize what was happening. And then before I knew it, the day was over, and all the guys were around me like, "Dude, look what you just did." And I was like, I was in shell shock. And it was pretty cool to do that against Furman. One of my best friends that I grew up with plays center at Furman.
Wow.
So it was cool to play pretty well in front of him.
That's a cool moment. And you also tied an NCAA record with those 5 doubles in that game. How does it feel?
It was awesome. Like I said, I didn't even realize what was happening at the time. And I'm glad I didn't, because I think I might have overthought it had I known what was going on. But, I just kind of zoned out and did my thing, and things worked out.
You're a Charlotte area kid. You went to Olympic High School, and you chose to come not too far up the mountain to App State. How does it feel to be close to home?
I love being close to home. the 2-hour drive is perfect because I feel like mom and dad can't sneak up on me.
Yep.
But then again, when I'm missing them, I can just roll down the hill and I'm right there with them.
I'm right outside of that Charlotte area, so I
Yeah.
know exactly how you feel. And Coach Smith is right down the mountain not too long ago coaching there at Belmont Abbey. So how does it feel to be close to home with a coach like that?
It's cool. It feels like me and him are from the same area, you know. And I think that kind of helps us connect.
And he's 3 years into his tenure here at App State. This is his 3rd season. How is that going for you guys so far? He's got a couple more of his guys on this year's roster, you're being one of them. How has that adjustment been for him?
I think what he's doing with the program is amazing, and I think that already this year you can see how things are turning around. Just looking at our team last year to this year, things are already turning around, and I'm excited to see where things are going to go. I think it's only going to go up from here.
And there's definitely an adjustment from high school baseball to college baseball. This is a much bigger scale. The pitchers are much better. How does it feel, and how do you adjust to the pitching at this scale of baseball?
The speed of the game definitely is a lot different. The game in college baseball definitely speeds up, and I think that the biggest thing for me is taking each at-bat pitch to pitch and just slowing things down.
What's been the greatest help for you as you make that adjustment from high school baseball to your freshman season here at App State?
The biggest thing for me is just sitting in the middle of the field and trying to get inside of the baseball. And like I said, taking it pitch to pitch. Coach Lundy's really helped me out with my approach, and me and him will talk approaches before games. He'll talk with all the guys about approaches before the game, and I think sticking to his approach is really what's brought me all my success so far.
With 19 wins in that first season for Coach Smith and 18 wins last year, with a lot of those games being moved for rain and different weather situations, what type of goals have you guys set for this season?
We haven't talked over specific goals like that. I think the biggest thing for us is beating the game of baseball. We don't care who we're playing. We have it in the locker room right now, actually. It's our schedule, and each game shows App State. We're playing the game of baseball. We're not worried about who we're playing. We just want to beat the game of baseball every day we go out.
And you guys do have an upcoming series against Georgia State. It'll be your first Sun Belt series here as a freshman. How are you preparing for that?
You know, we just want to go out there and stick to our approach and play the game hard. And I think that if we play the game the way we've been playing, that we're going to succeed in the Sun Belt this year.
We already spoke on how this is Coach Smith's 3rd season. If there's one guy on your team that you could let App State fans know about, who would that guy be, and why is he an impact player for this baseball team?
Definitely Hayden Cross. He's a grinder. Me and him are in the cages all the time, and I really think he pushes me more than I push him. He's always dragging me up to the cages, and he's just a grinder. I really love the way he works.
You spoke on a veteran player in Hayden Cross. Who's been one of the seniors that has helped you make this adjustment?
One of the seniors who's helped me adjust the most, I would say, is Joel McDaniel. He's really helped me just learn how to slow the game down and not think so much and just go out there and play and have fun.
Well, thank you for sitting down with us this week, Luke. For Mountaineer Spotlight, Jay Boyd, back to you guys.
App State baseball split the series against Furman last weekend, allowing the Paladins to rally in Game 1. The Mountaineers allowed 2 unearned runs, which ultimately cost them the game. Game 2 was an impressive one for App State, who defeated Furman 14-0. Freshman Luke Drumheller tied an NCAA single-game record along the way with 5 doubles. The Mountaineers went on to defeat Michigan State by a margin of 9-6 later that day.
App State softball swept Georgia Southern last weekend, winning all 3 of their games for the Sun Belt Conference Series. The Mountaineers won Game 1 of the series 9-2 and got a 7-0 shutout over the Eagles in Game 2. The final matchup was a closer one, requiring an 8th inning for App State to secure a 6-5 win. App State returned to action in the doubleheader against Gardner-Webb on Wednesday, taking Game 1 with a 4-2 victory. The bases were loaded at the bottom of the 7th inning in Game 2, but App State was unable to capitalize, losing the game 9-6.
3 Mountaineer wrestlers won SOCON titles last weekend as App State hosted the 2019 SOCON Wrestling Tournament at the Holmes Convocation Center in Boone, North Carolina. Randall Diabe, Kerry Miller, and Cody Russell were crowned champions at their weight divisions and will receive automatic berths into the NCAA Wrestling Championships. As a team, App State placed second, just 2.5 points behind Campbell University. News broke on Tuesday that Matt Zavostovsky would be receiving an at-large berth to the NCAA Championships, where he will face Missouri's Brock Mahler in the round of 32. We want to wish all our wrestlers good luck as they begin their tournament runs this week.
The Upstate women's golf team got off to a great start this season, finishing the top of the team leaderboard at the Bucknell Spring Break Intercollegiate Tournament. The Mountaineers were crowned co-champions, capturing their first multi-round tournament trophy since 2016.
Appstate track and field teams began their outdoor season this week at the 49er Classic in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mountaineers Izzy Evely and Felissa Greeley recorded top 10 times in program history in their respective events, and the men's 4x100 meter relay team recorded a second-place finish with a time of 42.24 seconds. App State will return to action this weekend at the Winthrop Invitational on March 22nd and 23rd.
The App State women's tennis team started conference play this week with a 4-2 win against Coastal Carolina on Wednesday. The Mountaineers managed to remain undefeated in the conference this week as they took down Arkansas State in a 4-3 victory on Sunday. App State will return to action at home this weekend as they face South Alabama on Friday and Troy on Sunday.
App State men's tennis had a tough week this week, falling first at home against Southern Miss and then on the road at Winthrop University. The Mountaineers will look to bounce back this weekend as they begin conference play against South Alabama on March 23rd.
After the break, we have a brand new Q&A game, and we wrap up with this week's Player of the Week. Stay tuned.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
What's up, guys? It's Holland back this week with the Q&A game, and I have with me
Amanda.
Jack Reed.
Lindsay.
Will.
Jack Durham.
So for your first question, what did you do over spring break?
I went to LA. My grandparents live there, so I went to visit them.
I just went home for most of it, and then I spent a couple days back here at App hanging out with friends, and then went home for a week.
I went down to Destin, Florida with a lot of guys.
How was that?
It was really fun, actually. Yeah, I had a good time.
My taxes, and I went to the Outer Banks.
Sounds like a whole lot of fun and also not fun.
That money.
So with March Madness coming up, there's going to be a whole lot of teams vying for that championship spot in the Final Four. Who do you want to see go all the way?
Probably UNC. I have a lot of friends that go there, and a guy from my high school plays on the team.
Interesting. Who is that?
Recon Black. Definitely my Tar Heels.
I figured as much.
I would have to say anyone but Duke.
Got a home rivalry here. Wait, are you a UNC fan?
Not really. I just really don't like Duke people.
Fair enough.
I don't really, honestly, I'd like to see Duke, but I don't really watch sports that much, to be honest.
I don't know anything about sports.
That's fair. For your third question, since St. Patrick's Day is coming up, here's a little trivia question for you. It'll be multiple choice. So every year, on average, how many pints of Guinness are sold worldwide? Is it A, 3 million pints, B, 13 million pints, or C, 23 million pints?
B?
That's correct.
I would say 13 million.
13 million.
That's correct, sir.
I'm going to go with B.
Man, we can't get anybody with that question. It's not fooling anybody today. We need to get better questions, Matt.
C.
Wrong. It's actually 13 million. It's not 23. People have been getting it right all day, and finally we got somebody. And for your final question, how tall is a regulation basketball hoop?
10 feet?
There you go. You got it.
10 feet.
10 feet?
Dang, everyone's just getting these today.
10 feet, I believe.
We need better questions. Back to you guys.
The App State women's basketball team certainly made us proud here in Boone this week, defeating Coastal Carolina and Georgia State in the Sun Belt Tournament before ultimately falling to number 1 seeded Little Rock in the semifinals. The Mountaineers dominated Coastal Carolina, earning a 36-point victory over the Chanticleers and marking the 3rd straight season with a win in the Sun Belt Tournament. App State then went on to defeat Georgia State with an incredible buzzer beater by senior Maddie Story. The Mountaineers finished this season winning 6 of their last 8 games and advancing to the semifinals for the first time since joining the Sun Belt Conference. This brings us to our Player of the Week.
And we can't possibly pick just one player this week, so we're going to honor the entire Appalachian State women's basketball program the season. It's been incredible to watch them perform this week in and week out. They've just been phenomenal, and we've had a lot of fun covering the women's basketball team
Absolutely.
this year.
They deserve all the love that we give them. They've worked super hard, overcome a lot of obstacles, and we are definitely extremely proud to have them here in Boone, and we hope to see them continue into the postseason.
No doubt. Thanks to all the seniors, too, on that team for a good run here at App State. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of The A-Game. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to give us a follow on Instagram at The A-Game Sports for all the latest A-Game content. But wrapping up here in studio, I'm Gray Salter.
And I'm Austin Lobb. Join us again next week. Thanks for watching, guys.